Greetings YouTubians and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we have a comparison video. Today we're going to be comparing the CIVIVI Elementum in S35VN versus the CIVIVI Elementum in D2. Now, these knives do have a lot of similarities, obviously. They're basically the same model. The S35VN version got, we'll call it the premium treatment from CIVIVI. They rolled out the original budget model last year and a half ago. It's been a while, but it's been one of the most popular, if not the most popular, budget EDC knife to ever be released. So with that being said, they said, why not make it as good as we can? And I think they've gotten pretty close to that. So we're going to go over the similarities and the differences and bring up some stuff that's worth considering when looking at these two models. Before we go any farther, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. I'm really trying to build this channel into what I hope it can be someday, with basically just a lot more followers with the same good content and banter and all types of good stuff going on. So, like I said, please hit the like button. Most importantly, please hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll keep this going. Now let's get back to these knives. So what these knives both have in common. Let's start off with kind of the regular specs. They both have an overall length of 6.99 inches. They both have a blade length of 2.96 inches, cutting edges at 2.625 inches. They both have that beautiful, simple, yet very elegant EDC drop point blade with a very nice hollow grind. For budget knives, these are one of the better hollow grinds you will get on a budget knife, if not the best. Handle length at 4.03 inches and handle width at 1 inch. Now, that's where the similarities stop. Now, as we go on here, I'm going to start with the D2, and we will go from the D2 to the S35VN. So the D2 model is coming in, move that over there, at $52.50. Now that is for the Micarta version, and that is exclusive. It's not exclusive, I take that back. This price is from Blade HQ. So everything I'm giving you here is based off of Blade HQ specs and pricing and all that. So here we have the Micarta version at $52.50. This has a satin finish. And those are those are the differences that don't really matter. These next differences play a lot more into truly comparing these two. The blade thickness on this guy is 0.12 inches. And we're going to compare that real quick. Here's the S35 right here, and here's the D2. As you can see, that is a considerable difference. A very considerable difference, and I did not even think it was going to be that noticeable by the naked eye, but it obviously is. So a pretty big difference there in blade thickness. That will translate into a thinner cutting edge. The cutting edge on this D2 model comes in at 17 thousandths, which is still pretty impressive. I mean, by all means, that's a plenty thin enough, plenty slicey enough blade. You can always get a little slicier, which we will here in just a second. But 17 thousandths is by no means a slouch. Very competent, very capable of getting the job done. And an overall weight of 2.89 ounces. So still, not heavy, but that just is what it is, 2.89 ounces. Now, let's bring in the premium model here, the S35VN. The price here comes in at $81. And on the blade finish, we have a very nice bead blasted finish. And I really like CIVIVI/WE's bead blast finish because it's not nearly as coarse as other bead blasts. It's a very fine, kind of, almost want to say milky smooth finish. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's just a much finer smoothness of bead blast than other companies. So normally I'm not a big fan of bead blast, but this it's so smooth and it's so mellowed out. It doesn't bother me one bit. Totally fine with it. And the blade thickness on this guy is 0.10. So that 0.02 difference is really coming into play here. And that makes our edge, that knocks the edge down to 15 thousandths. So, and I tell you what, guys, that 2 thousandths will make a considerable difference when it comes to slicing, especially with the thinner blade stock and the thinner edge. It's definitely going to be a rather epic slicer, even compared to its counterpart, the D2 model, which is, like I said before, it's no slouch. It's a pretty slicey blade, but this is just that much better. In weight comes in at 2.56 ounces. So 2.56 ounces compared to 2.89 ounces, that's nothing you're going to notice in the pocket, not by any stretch of the imagination. No one will. You're not going to notice it. But that does do something else, and we're going to talk about that here very shortly. So those are the biggest differences between these two knives. But now there's also some other things worth mentioning, and that I think will really get the attention of some of you guys. The detent on this S35 is much stronger. And I don't mean it's not too strong, but it's considerably stronger. You can almost hear it. You hear that snap? And now let's do the Elementum. See, it's a little slower. Here, I'll do them. I tried to do them at the same speed. There. So there is a difference. There's a considerable difference in detent strength. And what that's going to do with the S35 having that thinner blade stock and lighter blade, because the entire weight difference is in the blade, obviously, from the difference in thicknesses. So what that's going to give you is the detent, the stronger detent paired with the lighter blade, a much snappier, just a very snappy action on it that is just crisp and very, very nice. This hasn't even broken in, so it's gonna get even better. As to where it's not, it's walking that line of being drop shutty, but it's not there yet. But now keep in mind, I also have not disassembled and cleaned this yet. As to where this one, I've carried this guy a decent amount, and I have. So as you can see, it's gonna be a lot more drop shutty, but it lacks that extra bite on the detent than the S35VN model. Again, though, no, there's nothing wrong with this knife. It's a very well put together. Action's great, but there is that difference, and the S35VN model is much snappier, and with a lighter blade, it surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. I was literally expecting basically the exact same knife, just in the S35VN blade, but that is not the case. This is a very nice little add-on they did here. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if that just happened to be it just happened in manufacturing, but it's something worth noting because it is very nice to have on this model. The micartas. This is another reason if you guys, I'm sure you probably know, I love micarta. So whenever I can get micarta on a knife, I'm going to get micarta. And there is considerable differences in this micarta outside of just the color. If you look close, you'll see the tan micarta or the brown micarta on the D2 model. It's kind of, I want to say they were going for a polished look, but what you got was kind of a plasticky finish. It's still micarta. You can still see the grain in there, and it's not horrible. I mean, for a $52 knife, I mean, how much can you expect, right? But this model here with the green micarta, to me, this is much more of a true micarta. It has a great texture. It's a lot grippier. Like, this really doesn't have, it does have a little grip, but not much. Not much. It's more of a polished, smooth micarta, as to where this is the micarta that everyone thinks of. When you hear micarta, you think of, that extra grippy texture, seeing the weave a lot more, just a lot more visible all over the knife. So a lot better appearance, even more important, a lot better feel with the micarta on the S35VN model. So that's a really nice little added feature comparing the two, as well as the bead blasted CIVIVI logo. I like that. I don't dislike or have anything against the black background in this CIVIVI logo, but this one here just gives it a little more of a, it kind of helps dull the C down in the logo, and it's just a little more, I think a little more pleasant to carry. It's not quite as, doesn't pop as much, and it's just a little more simple look. So I like that. Again, that's purely my opinion there, but I consider this one to be a lot better looking than the D2 model. So that's the comparison for you guys. We're going to keep this one a little nice and short. But the biggest question is the price difference worth the upgrade? I mean, yes, S35VN alone makes it worth it to me, because this is a knife that you're going to carry a lot. You're going to carry it, if not daily, every week. It's just a great piece. So why not upgrade to S35VN, especially if you're in a climate like me in the Midwest where you get a lot of humidity and it can really kind of wreak havoc on a D2 blade. So to me, absolutely, there's no question that the S35 for just the 2850, I believe, it's worth every penny. So no question there for me. I'll take that all day. S35VN model is a great EDC, a great quality EDC for under $100. You're talking one of the greatest of all time EDC offerings for under $100 right here. In my opinion, there's not a lot of competition either. There's a couple, but there's not many that's going to give this knife a run for its money as one of the best under 100 EDC budget knives ever. But now with that being said, the D2 model is still a nice little good option. It's a great entry-level model for a kid that's just getting into knives, or if someone just wants a nicer looking beater knife that you can just, beat the hell out of and not really worry if you break it or, chip the blade or lose it or whatever. I mean, you still don't want to lose a $52 knife, but at the same time, it's going to hurt a lot less if something happens to either one of these. So there you go, guys. That's the comparison. Let me know what you think. How are you thinking about getting the S35, or are you just simple with it, or do you not have an Elementum at all? Also, this is a good one. What CIVIVI model would you like to see get the premium treatment? The Elementum got it. I think there's a handful of other models that could easily get it. Personally, I would really like to see the CIVIVI X-Art get it. That's one of my favorite models CIVIVI's ever released. But what do you guys think? What model deserves the premium treatment? That's all I got for you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend and take care. Bye.